Hi, I'm Anna. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to show you some painting that I did to achieve this look on my jeans. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but wasn't having much luck with some of the techniques I was trying, and then I learned a little trick, so I'll show you how I did that. As far as the jeans, it's just a painting tutorial today, but if you're interested in making some jeans like these, I did put out a video recently of how to make your own wide bell bottom jeans or elephant bells. So I'll link to that tutorial because it was much the same process for these. So here's the jeans I'm starting with, and this is a pair that I already made into elephant bells by adding some really cool panels. I found this amazing pair of jeans that was painted like this. The whole jeans were like that. Unfortunately, it wasn't a size I could wear, but I really liked those, so I cut those out and added these into these jeans to make them really wide bells. I love those colors. I love the tie-dye look, and it's really cool. So I want to do something more to embellish the rest of this jean, which, as I said, is going to be painting. Okay, so I've got a pack of stencils with some cool celestial designs on them, all these beautiful suns, moons, stars, all of that stuff. And so I did some practice painting with it. I am no artist by any means, so I wanted the easiest way possible of painting on these jeans. I didn't have particularly good luck. In these cases, I mixed my acrylic paint with fabric medium, and I was trying using a brush, brushing over the stencils. I tried using a sponge and pushing it down on the stencils. And no matter what I did, because there's some fine lines in some of these, they just kind of got filled in. I think you can see it more on this one. That's meant to be a starburst, and there was lots of little finer points that came in, and you just can't see them very well. And I've tried, this is two different colors, first red down and then white over it, and then yellow and white on this one. I just wasn't happy with the results. And then I kind of started chatting with somebody who does a bit of painting and got some information, some advice, I should say, from them. That I think I'm going to try with these. So basically, she doesn't bother mixing fabric medium with hers because she doesn't get a big solid area like this. What can happen if you don't mix fabric medium with acrylic paint? Now, absolutely, you can buy fabric paint and then you don't have to worry about this at all. But if you have acrylic paint, you can mix fabric medium in, and if you don't, it can be a bit stiffer. It can crack, things like that. But looking at these, I mean, this is just an old faded, painted, splotchy, there's nothing perfect and smooth and sharp about this anyway. So what she suggested was to take your brush and have very little paint on it. So like you're going to dip it in your paint and then you're going to dry it and, wipe off a lot of it so it's a very dry brush. Put your stencil down and then just tap like this. And when I did that, this is the result I got. Sure, there's some areas that are lighter and darker than others, but I don't care, given that this is sort of splotchy like that as well. I think that'll look nice. And some of the finer details stand out much better. So I'm hoping that's going to work for this. I'm going to try that. And then the other thing, so I'm going to use white for the basic to get most of my designs down. I don't know how many I'm going to do yet. I'm going to figure it out as I go. But what I could do then is, after that dries, mix some colors together to maybe pick up some of the colors that are in these, and then just come back, put the stencil on it again, of course, but just touch in certain areas maybe to get some colors in there. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing what I'm going to do. This is all new. Like I said, I am no artist, but let's just give it a try and see what happens. So these are the paints I'm working with. It's just an acrylic set, and I've got few colors here, but I'm not gonna try too much mixing at this stage. Right now I'm just gonna start with white, and as I said, I might blend some colors to try and match some of these later just for some accent colors. So for now I'm just starting with white, and I've already put a little bit on this little paper plate here. Then I've gone through my stencils. I've got quite a few, and there's certain areas that I like. I like the sun there. I like the moon there. They don't necessarily have to be near each other. I like that part, or even this little sun here. I like those stars. I like that too. She's a little big, so I'm not sure if we'll work her in or not, but we'll see. So for now, I think I'll start with this one. And because I only want this part, I'm gonna just maybe put a little bit of masking tape over anything else nearby that I don't want to paint. So I like that star here, but I don't want that other stripe that comes near it there. There we go. so I can get that star without getting any of this circle that comes near it there. And if I'm going to put that one maybe about halfway in here, nothing exact about it. These outside stars overlap just slightly onto the seam where I've added those fabric panels. I'm fine with that. So then the next thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of tape on here to kind of hold my stencil in place. Again, I'm not going to be pumming up here that high, but hopefully that'll help hold it in place because it can go through and press on the jeans a bit. And I'm not going to come up here that high either, but we'll just mask them off to be sure. There, that should stop it from moving around while I'm working. So I've masked off this, so I'm just going to get these stars that surround it in this area here. And I've just got a blob of paint on there. And I'm just taking a little bit on there, not too much. And then I'm actually going to come over here and just brush back and forth a few more times to make sure there's very little paint on there. Now I'm not going to brush back and forth. I'm literally just going to tap. Need a little more? Come back and get some more. You can always come back and get more. I don't want to have too much on the brush. Now I'm going to be careful over here not to go over the edge of that stencil. I'm not getting a dark solid color, but again, that's not what I want. I'm after this sort of light faded look. The hope is that in tapping like this, you're not going to get the paint to go underneath your stencil, at least not very much. And if it's uneven and rough looking, again, I'm not worried about that because this is, look at this. This is all different faded colors in here. Nothing perfect is I'm not after here, so I'm just lifting that back. I don't want to set that down on the jeans because there is wet paint on there, but just to see if I can see enough of the design that I like it. So while it's still taped down, if I'm unhappy with anything or want to go over it anymore, I can. But honestly, I like the rough unevenness of it because I think that ties in the panels on the side really nicely. You can go over it as much as you like if you want more coverage. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to move this one for now. I'll leave the tape on the rest of it because, as I said, after that dries, I might want to come back and put a little bit more color on it. Not to do the whole thing, but maybe just to highlight certain things or hit a little bit of yellow and pink here to pick up these colors. We'll see. Okay, so I've got that. Now I want to do one on this side, another larger one. I'm thinking this sun. I don't want it directly across from that, so maybe further down toward the bottom. And I'll line that edge of the stencil up maybe with the edge of that panel. And we'll tape this down. Definitely want it on there so I don't pick up those little moons. So now I've got this one taped up. I went a little lower, as you can see, and I've blanked out everything else. I will at some point come back and put some smaller details, but I'm not sure yet, so I didn't want to take any of these now. I've just blocked all those out, so I'm just doing the sun here. I'm just being really careful to get in those points because I want to get those as sharp as I can. I'm not worrying too much, again, about even coverage because I don't care about that, but I want to make sure I do have the points on here if I can. Give it a nice hard tap in those corners. Probably not good for the brush, but this is an old brush anyway. Really good. I'm happy with that. Like I say, you're going to have some areas that are a little darker, a little lighter. I want that. I don't want perfection. But for the most part, I can see I got all the points in my little sunbeams, so I'm very happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to wash the brush off because I can feel it's getting stiffer and dry it a bit before I keep going. But essentially, I'm going to do what I just showed you. Pick a few key pieces, larger ones about this size, and selectively place them on the jeans. And when it's dry enough, I'll flip them and do the back side. And then we'll come back and put some more details in. So I show you when I get it that far. Okay, so I've finished doing the bigger designs, both front and back. I'll show you that in a second. But I just wanted to show you the first two that I did, I got a bit lighter coverage on them. And I think that's because my brush wasn't yet saturated, where when you come up here to the stars, you can see that's a bit heavier. Partly because maybe I went over it more to make sure I got all the fine tips in there. But also, the more you do without cleaning your brush, the heavier it sort of gets on there and starts to dry a bit. So you're going to get a heavier coverage. I don't mind. Like you can see up here, this one's a lighter one again. I wanted to see the detail of the face, and I still can on there. So I'm fine with that. I like it a bit irregular because, as I say, this is all kind of tie-dye and light and dark shades. So I'm looking for sort of a rustic, uneven look to it. So I'm fine with that. But if you want a consistent depth throughout, maybe just wash your brush off more frequently between applications. So here's the front so far, and I'll show you the back as well. So in a lot of cases, as you can see, it's a repeat of the designs from the front. This one's got some lighter and darker areas in it. That's pretty cool. And these have been featured on the front side as well. I repeated the stars up here again. But then I also added a new one down here. This was a bigger design, but I really liked it, so I wanted to incorporate it somewhere. So I've got that down in the back. The other thing I did, because when I noticed when I tried the jeans on after the first side was done, that my knee fell right about, midway above the star in that. So, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I didn't want any art that was too close to the bend in my knee. I thought it might look a bit wonky sometimes. So I tried them on, and I just sort of marked the spot where my knee bends. And it's just sort of right in that area. You probably can't see it, but I've got a couple chalk marks there. I just tried to not get any of the art too close to that. I don't care if some of the smaller accents are going to be in there because I'm going to add some more details now. But I didn't want my larger art to fall right where the knee bends. That's the only reason that's got those little chalk lines there. Okay, so now I just want some of the smaller accents, the little stars. This one's really nice because it's got a few different shapes on it. So I've taped over portions that I don't want, that big moon there and everything. And that way I'm hoping I don't have to actually tape this down to the actual thing anymore because I'm just doing these small bits. So I'm just going to sort of carefully do that and then maybe move the stencil and do that one and move that one. And on this stencil, I've got some of these more star-shaped ones. So I've got a few different ones to pick from. And I just, like I say, want to add a few accents around here. This yellow is a very light, it's kind of a lemon yellow, but you can see it's a faded tie-dye look to it. I don't know that I'm going to be able to match it. This is lemon yellow, but it looks quite bright. But I've got some white left. Let's see if I can get, if it's not perfect, that's fine. But let's see if we can get something sort of similar looking to this yellow. Just add some yellow here. That's not bad. That's kind of a light yellow. Like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. And honestly, I don't mind if it's got some swirls of yellow and white in it. It doesn't have to be a perfect blend because this isn't, as you can see, the colors blend from one to another and they're quite faded in some parts. So the tricky thing will be, I won't want to have to lay the stencil over part I've already done. And since these are so close together, I'm going to start down here and just sort of work my way up. I only want to do a few. So maybe we'll try this one here. I don't need it to be heavy, but I do want to try to get into the points of the star if I can. I'm pretty happy with that. Fine with that one as well. I might put one over here now. And I'm just going to randomly go around and do that in a few different spots, wherever I like. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So I'll just keep going. So there's the yellow bits added to the front side. Now before I go on, I'm going to wash my brush out and try and mix up some pink or purple shades to add some more bits to this front side. And then once those have dried, I can flip it over and repeat the whole process on the other side. I did want to mention, again, not trying for any perfection here. So some spots are a little lighter than others, and I'm fine with that. I did have a tiny bit of paint on this one that went underneath there, just a little bit. But while it was still wet, I just took sort of the point of my scissors and just sort of scraped it back. So I think we'll be just fine. Let me wash the brush and we'll mix some other colors. Okay, change of plans. So I was going to go off and try to mix some purples to try and mimic some of the colors in the bottom part of the bell bottoms here. But what I have is ultramarine blue, which leans toward violet if you look at it. But my red is scarlet red. And that means it's got yellow in it, it's got orange undertones. And though normally red and blue make purple, when you have scarlet red, that's not the case. Every time I tried to mix it, I came up with a dark, dusty mauve color. And if I tried adjusting it, it would just get sort of browner. It just doesn't work if you have scarlet red like I do. So rather than trying to mix specific colors, I decided to go and get some more paint in the colors that I already wanted. My husband found me this perfect set here. There's quite a few colors in it. They're smaller bottles a little bit than these, not by much, but it's already got a lavender, blue, purple, and there's 2 shades of pink in here. And then more white and yellow, which are very similar to what I've already got here. So I'm just gonna go straight to the colors that I want. I may still be able to mix them and blend them a bit to get sort of a tie-dye look to them, or I might just try layering one color over another. I'm not sure yet, but this is gonna be much better than trying to mix to get a purple out of colors that we're never gonna do that. So I've got 2 smaller brushes today, and I'm hoping I can keep those separate for the 2 colors and not have to switch and wash up so often, but let's see. So I've got these kind of stars up here already in yellow. I might add just a small cluster nearby in another color. So I'm going to dab it right in there and then take any excess off on the side here so there's not too much on. Just like I've been doing all along. So there's how that turned out. The smaller ones, even though I'm really careful to get, dab right into those points, it's really harder to see the points. So I might stick with larger ones, I think. So I'm just going to go around and do some different designs and add to this some pinks and purples, and we'll see where we go from there.
Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened to my last clip here. I've lost the audio, so I'm going to try and tell you what I was trying to point out here. You can see I've done a few different elements in both the pinks and purples, trying to match some of the colors in here. The pink wasn't quite what I had hoped for, so I tried a couple different techniques. On some of these, I first laid like these are just the purple I'm pointing at here, but this moon, I laid down a pink color first and then kind of went over it with a little bit of purple, trying to get it to be more of a tie-dye look to it. I tried that on a couple of things actually, and it didn't quite make the look I was after. On that one you can see some sort of flecks of purple mixed in with it. Up here, I actually just sort of went over it twice with the darker pink. And then for the rest of them, I really just mixed the pink and the purple together. And I think that yielded a better result. So I got a different shade of pink that more closely matched this here. So it's a bit of everything, a few different techniques, just trying to get my colors how I wanted them. And that's okay, because, the sides being tie-dye, it doesn't matter if these colors go all over the place.
So here they are. What do you think? I'm really happy with them. I will say, just to make sure that the paint lasted, I did heat set them. There's a couple ways of doing that. You can do it with an iron, but I just chose to turn them inside out and put them on the hottest setting of my dryer for 30 minutes. So I did that about 2 days after I finished painting. I wanted to make sure the paint was fully dry before I did that. And then, like I say, heat set them for 30 minutes. And then I waited another 2 weeks because I wanted to be able to wash them and tell you how that turned out. So just fine. No problems with it whatsoever. Nothing's come off. It all feels really good. I'm really, really happy with it. So I hope you like it and give it a shot if you want to try painting. I was really scared to try, but I'm glad I did it. Thank you for watching.